Hi everyone, I'm the Gnome, and I'm here to talk about a new game that's currently in beta and is free to play. Yes, that got your attention. It's Neverwinter. It's an MMO, and it's based in the Dungeons and Dragons universe. I'm not a big MMO fan, to be honest. I find them a bit linear, and especially, well, WoW main one played a bit much like a cow clicker. Just stand in this position, spam your keys from F1 to F12. And then we have won. So the reason I've tried Neverwinter is that I really like D&D games. I'd love to have played some on the actual tabletop. Never really got a chance to, as there's not that many nerds in my school. So maybe something I need to get into a little bit now. But I do very much like the D&D electronic games. So Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, especially Baldur's Gate 2, I absolutely loved. So it is going to be against Baldur's Gate 2 that I'm going to be comparing this game. Unfairly? Yes, pretty much unfairly. But then again, when have I ever been fair on this channel? So I'm going to have a look at the character creation in both games and compare and contrast. And then we'll also do both games a little bit later in the game to kind of compare where you're going. So I've avoided most MMO trappings other than that little kind of brief soiree into WoW. So if there's anything if I lay the blame of WoW on all MMOs, I apologise. If there's other MMOs that are good and do things differently, then I've not played them. I hold my hands up. So it's really going to be, is Neverwinter better than WoW, and is it comparable or better than Baldur's Gate 2. So, first thing we're going to have a look at is character creation. So this is the opening screen for Neverwinter, selected for to play, and you can see my normal character who I've modelled like a young noddy holder. Currently level 7, so not too far in as you can see, but we'll be giving you an update as to what the game's like a little bit later on. So we set a new character and you get 3 servers to pick from, which I can only assume is based on how close the location is. And this is kind of where I've got the biggest problem with the game. And the ability scores, you'll see there's charisma and constitution, and depending on what race you are will determine what class you are. And I know that's a D&D thing and has been forever, but that annoys me, to be honest. So, you pick a dwarf, you get stand your ground, but the ability scores aren't going to give you the skills if you want to make a dwarf magician. And why can't you make a dwarf magician? Why does the dwarves have to be warriors? The half-orcs? I don't know. I just think these days that can we not just have, I want to pick a halfling character and I want to be a halfling mage. But no, because I'm a halfling, my characteristics, or at least my ability scores and my racial characteristics, will mean my halfling isn't as tough a mage or a wizard as a tiefling, whatever tiefling is. I don't want to be pigeonholed based on the character class, based on the race I pick. I don't want to be put into a certain class. Is that post-racism? Is that enlightened behaviour? Maybe. What it is I just want to be able to be whatever I want my character to be. If there was a gnome option, would I be a gnome? Yes, of course I would be. But the closest thing is a little halfling. And I'm gonna of course I'm gonna pick to be a halfling in my normal game. But you don't get the benefits to allow you to be like a wizard. So I'm gonna have to pick little Hellboy here. And it defaults you with the character class it wants you to play, which is the control wizard. Your lovely little flying ball. And here's some of the other classes, but it wants you to pick this one because that's the one best suited. And games should allow you to play however you want to play. I know it's based on rules from 30, 40 years ago, but come on, it's 2013. If I want to play an orc thief, I should be able to play an orc thief. If I want to play a tiefling warrior, I should be able to play a tiefling warrior. If I want to play a halfling or no mage, I should be able to do that. I shouldn't be forced into picking whatever the game wants me to pick. And here's another issue. Based on D&D, you've got your strength, constitution, dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, as per usual. But you can't put the scores in. You can randomise them, you can re-roll them until you get one you're pretty happy with. But you can't actually just pick, which I find really, really strange. I don't know, I just think it's 2013. Let me pick, it's my game. Admittedly I didn't pay any money for it because it's a free to play, but I'm going to be the one putting money into it. Right, so now Dwarf, you see Dwarf has then defaulted to Guardian Fighter. Well thanks. And you don't have the characteristics to play a control wizard in any way, shape or form. What game does have a good kind of character generation, and I'm going to go off the Baldur's Gate topic for just a second, is Gangster City of a Murder. At the start of that game, you get given an almost a choose your own adventure style. You fancy a girl but she's got a boyfriend. Do you A, beat the guy up? Do you B, bribe him? Or do you C, scare him off another way? Depending on which one you pick, which it does tell you, will give you certain bonuses. So is your charisma going to be good because you've talked him out of it? And if that's what you want, then you can select that option. And there's like 3 or 4 choices which just nicely build up the kind of character that you want the character to be. Whereas this, you've picked Mini Hellboy, so that means you're going to be a wizard. And the customization's pretty good, to be honest. Tattoos, if you want to look a bit like Ben Kingsley in Ender's Game, with a random colour, you can pick the type of horn, you can pick the hair colour, you can pick the body weight, and for an MMO, that's really, really good. You want them to be as unique as possible. So I'm quite happy with the number of customization appearances that you've got in this game. You also, once you've selected really whatever you want about your character, do you want a big fat one, or do you want a skinny one? It's going to be a skinny one, obviously. You get to pick this bit, which, as you say as well, each selection is for flavour and there's no effect on gameplay. So what's the point? You can pick where your character originates from, and a slightly different type depending on which city, and which god they follow. It's got no effect on gameplay, so why is it there? I know it's beta, but can we not have choices that matter? Let people pick something different per character. Let them have a unique response based on that. Maybe I'm asking too much of an MMO, especially maybe a free-to-play one, but it should matter. Certain characters should treat you differently and give you different missions and different rewards based on where you're from, which religion you're from. And that's what I'd very much like to see. And then finally, you pick your name, and I'm going to call my character Hellblazer, because he's got horns, and I don't really want to call Hellboy, he's a little bit on the nose, although I've referred him twice as that so far. Okay, let us compare this now against Baldur's Gate 2. Yes, a single player game, but it's based in the same universe. So you can pick your gender, and it's on there, it doesn't really make a difference. Although it may impact whether the NPC becomes romantically entangled. You can pick your appearance, which is just your kind of picture, or pick the weird jester. At this point you can pick your race, and it gives you some little background about the race. Kind of what they're good at, kind of what they're not so good at. And obviously I'm going to pick a gnome, because what else would I pick apart from a gnome? And this is what I like. Look at the number of classes I can be as a gnome. That's 3 under fighter. I can just be a standard fighter. I can be multi-class. There's 4 under the cleric. There's mages, thieves. I can even be I can be a barbarian gnome. These aren't the kind of choices you get in Neverwinter, unfortunately, and they're probably not the kind of choices you get in any MMO. But I'd like them. don't just need DPS, tank, healer. Let's give us something a little bit different. Let's put a bit of more effort into it. The alignment, which is how the NPC characters will impact you, that should be linked with the where you're from and what race, what religion you're from. You can pick your bloody abilities. Why can't I pick my abilities? Neverwinter. It's a D&D game. You've got your pen bit of paper. You've got to pick your abilities. You can roll, yes, pick. You can also pick what weapon you want to be really good at, rather than just here, have this weapon, pick this. That would just give you that extra level of choice when you're picking weapons that you want to use. You can just do so much more. Yes, the appearance is a bit rubbish. Just going to go back and fiddle about. Somebody with a short sword, in fact. And the appearance, yeah, a bit rubbish, not as good as Neverwinter. But there's so much more choice that I really think is lacking in Neverwinter. Thanks everyone for watching. This will be my first video on Neverwinter. I'll be having another video a little bit later on. I don't want to show too much of the lower levels, there's really no point. See what the game gets a bit like when I get a bit further in. If I get any further in, if I don't, I'll let you know kind of why that is, what I've run up against, what I don't, what I like, what I dislike. So hopefully you found this a little bit useful. So cheers everyone, good night.